It started with a coffee, just one coffee, $5, every morning, on the way to work. No big deal, right? That's exactly what John thought, until the day he ran the numbers and realized that small cup of coffee had cost him over $100,000. And the worst part? It wasn't really about the coffee. John Martinez was 28 years old, living in Austin, Texas. He had a decent job, a project coordinator at a mid-sized tech firm, pulling in about $62,000 a year. He wasn't broke, but he wasn't building wealth either. He paid his rent, he paid his bills, he bought groceries, went out on weekends, streamed his shows, and every single morning, he stopped at the coffee shop on 5th Street and ordered a medium latte, $5.25. Every day, for years, John considered himself pretty good with money. He didn't have credit card debt. He had a small emergency fund. He contributed 3% to his 401k, just enough to get the company match. He thought he was doing fine. Then one Sunday afternoon, John sat down to do something he'd been putting off for months, a real, honest look at where his money was going. He opened up a spreadsheet, pulled up his bank statements, and started going line by line. The coffee, $5.25 a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year. That's $1,365 a year. He'd been doing this for 6 years. $8,190 gone on coffee. But John was smart. He kept going. He added the weekend brunches, $45 every Saturday with friends. The streaming subscriptions he forgot he had, 4 of them, totaling $62 a month. The gym membership he used maybe twice a month, $49. The Amazon impulse buys, averaging $80 a month. By the time he was done, John had identified nearly $600 a month, $7,200 a year, leaving his account on things he barely thought about. He stared at the screen. Where did 6 years go? Now here's where it gets interesting, because this is the moment most people close the laptop, feel bad for a few days, and then go back to exactly what they were doing. But John didn't. He called his older sister, Maria, a financial planner in Denver, and showed her the numbers. She looked at the spreadsheet. She looked at him, and she said something he never forgot. John, it's never really about the coffee. It's about what the coffee represents and what it's costing you in the future. She pulled out her phone and opened a compound interest calculator. What if, she said, instead of spending that $600 a month, you invested it, starting at 28, for the next 30 years, in an index fund averaging 8% annual returns? She typed it in, turned the screen around. $905,000. John's jaw dropped. That's almost $1 million, he said quietly. From $600 a month, Maria said. Money you're already spending. Money you don't even notice leaving. That conversation changed John's life. But not overnight, and not perfectly. He didn't cut out the coffee cold turkey. He didn't cancel everything. That's not realistic, and Maria told him so. Instead, they made a plan. First, John bumped his 401k contribution from 3% to 10%. That alone, with his employer match, meant an extra $434 a month going into tax-advantaged retirement savings. Second, he opened a Roth IRA and committed to putting $200 a month in it, invested in a simple S&P 500 index fund. Third, he audited his subscriptions, canceled 2 streaming services he barely used. That was $28 a month back in his pocket. He kept the coffee, 2 days a week instead of 5, made it at home the other days. Total lifestyle change, barely noticeable. Total monthly redirected, $520. Now let's fast forward. John is 35, 7 years later. His investments have grown to just over $68,000. Not $1 million yet, but it's real, it's his, and it's compounding every single month. He got a raise. Instead of upgrading his lifestyle, he bumped his monthly investment to $900. By 45, his projected balance is over $340,000. By 58, if he stays the course, he crosses $1.1 million. All because of one Sunday afternoon, one honest look at a spreadsheet, and one conversation with his sister. But here's the other side of this story. The version John almost became. His coworker, Derek. Same age, same salary, same company. Derek saw John's spreadsheet, laughed it off. Man, I work hard. I deserve my coffee. I'll worry about investing when I make more money. Derek is now 35. No Roth IRA. 401k sitting at $11,000 from sporadic contributions. Still telling himself he'll start investing seriously next year. The gap between John and Derek isn't talent. It isn't income. It isn't luck. It's 7 years of $520 a month. It's the decision made on a Sunday afternoon. So what can you take from John's story? Lesson 1. Small spending, compounded, becomes catastrophic loss. It's not $5. It's $5 times 365 days times 30 years of lost investment growth. That's the real math. Always think in compound terms, not calendar terms. Lesson 2. You don't need a high income to build wealth. You need awareness. John made $62,000 a year. That's not wealthy. But he built a 7-figure retirement trajectory on a middle-class salary by paying attention. Lesson 3. The audit is the most powerful financial tool you're not using. Sit down once a quarter. Pull your bank statements. Go line by line. Find the leaks. Even recovering $200 a month, invested over 30 years at 8%, becomes over $300,000. Lesson 4. Automate before you can spend it. John's secret weapon? He set up automatic transfers on payday. The money went to his Roth IRA and 401k before he ever saw it. You can't spend what isn't in your checking account. Lesson 5. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. John kept his coffee 2 days a week. He didn't live miserably. He made sustainable changes, and that's why they stuck. The $5 coffee isn't the villain of this story. Unconsciousness is. Not knowing where your money goes. Not doing the math. Not having the Sunday afternoon conversation with yourself. John had it. And that one afternoon, that one honest, uncomfortable hour with a spreadsheet, set the trajectory for the rest of his financial life. You can have that same afternoon today. Pull up your bank statements. Add up the small stuff. Run the compound interest numbers. And then make one small, sustainable change. Not everything. Just one thing. Because wealth isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built in quiet ones. The ones where nobody's watching, and you choose your future self over your present comfort. If this story hit home for you, if you saw a little bit of yourself in John, then you're already ahead of where he was. Subscribe for more stories like this. Every week, we break down real financial decisions, real consequences, and real strategies, so you can build the life you actually want. See you in the next one.